Howya, this is Comic Kong, and today we'll be looking at the Marvel superhero Moon Knight after Marvel have announced they'll be making a TV show about the iconic character. You might be thinking, Moon Knight, never heard of him. What's his thing? What makes him so different from every other superhero? Well, Moon Knight, basically, is a superhero that's heavily mentally ill. He suffers from DID, dissociative identity disorder, which used to be known as multiple personality disorder. As a superhero, this makes his life really complicated. In one story, he had to pretend to be a mercenary for the supervillain, the Kingpin. Because of his unstable mind, he genuinely believed he was a cold-blooded killer and nearly murdered Spider-Man. Unsurprisingly, a lot of superheroes really don't like working with the guy. And that is the first fact about Moon Knight. Let's dive in. Mark Spector debuted as Moon Knight in Werewolf by Night number 32 in 1975. The story was called The Stalker, called Moon Knight. Before he was Moon Knight, Mark was a mercenary. While in Egypt, his mercenary team discovered a statue of the Egyptian moon god, Khonshu, in an ancient temple. One of the mercenaries, Bushman, killed the accompanying doctor, Allron. Spector fought Bushman and defeated him. Exhausted, Spector tried to seek shelter in a nearby town. Since he was in the middle of nowhere, Spector couldn't find a place to rest and was forced to roam the sub-zero desert that night. His withered body was found by Egyptians and he was brought to their temple. As he neared death, he had a vision of Khonshu, who said he would give Spector a second chance of life if he became the avatar of the moon god. Spector accepted this proposal. When he returned to America, he became the superhero Moon Knight. As a mercenary, Spector is incredibly strong, but when he is in the light of the moon, he has super strength, speed, and endurance, which puts him on par with the greatest fighters like Spider-Man, Captain America, or Wolverine. However, he can be taken advantage of due to his mental instability. To quote Spider-Man, Moony rhymes with loony. To distance himself from his mercenary days, Spector created an identity called Stephen Grant. Grant is a suave, charming millionaire and is everything that Mark Spector isn't. But because of his mental disorder, he doesn't pretend to be Stephen Grant, he becomes Stephen Grant and genuinely believes he is the character. He created another identity called Jake Lockley, whose purpose is to learn of criminal activities on the street. Spector became a superhero to rid himself of the guilt he felt about all the lies he had taken as a mercenary. Because of his numerous identities, he is very difficult to mind read or locate by a psychic. Spector is Jewish. He formed another identity called Mr. Knight. He serves as a superhero detective. In recent comics, Moon Knight's mental state has deteriorated even further. Instead of creating new personalities, he develops delusions and paranoid schizophrenia. This makes him see and hear people who aren't there. He convinced himself that he went on a mission with Captain America and Spider-Man, not realizing that he had imagined them. Since his power is derived from the Egyptian moon god, he usually battles supernatural beings. They usually don't fight him like normal supervillains. They are much more sneaky. Since Moon Knight is mentally ill, they use this to their advantage. Once, an Egyptian deity put Moon Knight in an illusion, so he kept waking up in a mental institution. The doctor kept telling him that the Moon Knight was a delusion, that he suffered and he had been institutionalized since he was 12. Although the deity's minions tried to make Moon Knight doubt himself, he saw past the trick and escape. He can communicate to Khonshu through a vessel between space and time called the Other Void. By the way, at this point you might be wondering, wait, what happened to that Bushman guy? Well, years after their first encounter, Bushman found Mark Spector and broke his legs. In retaliation, Spector carved off Bushman's face. Because of this injury, Spector retired as Moon Knight. He used to have metal claws like Wolverine. He used web shooters like Spider-Man. Okay, can he just stop copying other superheroes? Spector came out of retirement when Khonshu inspired him with a vision. Khonshu was nice enough to fix Spector's legs. He uses a truncheon, spiked knuckles, throwing darts, and nunchaku. He also has a grappling hook built into his billy club. When he was a Marine, his mental illness was very noticeable to the other soldiers. Once, he walked onto a minefield in the middle of the night while he was naked. Yeah, that's definitely a red flag. You probably have never heard the word Khonshu before, so you'd assume the comics just made it up. However, there is a moon god of Egypt, although it's spelled Khonsu, not Khonshu. The ancient Egyptians called him Aya, which means embracer or pathfinder. Many people believe that Mark Spector developed this mental instability as a time as a mercenary. However, he has suffered DID since he was a child. He's been a member of the Midnight Suns, the Secret Avengers, the Defenders, and the Heroes for Hire. Spector believes he was chosen by Khonshu after he stumbled upon his tomb during his mission with Bushman. However, Khonshu had chosen Spector as soon as his mental illness became noticeable. Because Spector suffers DID, it makes it easier for Khonshu to manipulate him to do his bidding. Because Khonshu is like a jerk. Mark is a certified pilot and flies the Mooncopter. You can't say that and make it sound cool. He used to be a heavyweight boxing champion. This makes him extremely efficient as a superhero because he knows every vulnerable bone, muscle, and nerve in the human body. He's nicknamed the Lunar Legionnaire, the Crescent Crusader, the Fist of Khonshu, and Sheepface. When he was institutionalized, Spectre was treated by Dr. Emmett. She finds it fascinating that Spectre, quote, joins the army, said lunatic freaks out and ends up spiritually reborn in a near-death experience, unquote. Spectre could have become a serial killer if he wasn't blessed with powers from the ancient Egyptian pantheon. Over time, Emmett wonders if this strategy can be used to help other mentally ill patients. In her institution, Emmett came across a pyromaniac with bipolar who was also left traumatized with his time in the army. Although this patient is seen as a lost cause since he burned his fellow Marines to death, Emmett believes he can be saved if he is endowed with a god like the way Spectre was. After researching the Egyptian pantheon, she believes that the sun god, Ra, would be best suited for the patient. After he researches the deity, he finds that Ra is more than happy to embrace him to exact his revenge on his adopted son, Khonshu. The patient incinerates the hospital using the power of Ra and escapes to track down Spectre. He calls himself the Sun King. Moon Knight once fought an ancient Egyptian in a jousting match while riding a dragonfly. I think that's the only time that's ever happened in literature. And for the final fact, during one of his hallucinations, he believed he was making a Moon Knight film adaptation with Marvel Studios. He didn't understand how it got greenlit since Moon Knight is, quote, a third-rate character at best. I really hope they put that in the TV show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like these facts, check out my books, 1000 Facts About Superheroes, Volume 1, 2, and 3. They're all available on Amazon on paperback and Kindle. Thanks for watching. See you again.